Go chirp 3. Rich Keefe from WEEI said that he has a scoop that Jeremy Swayman is asking for $10 million a year. If that is the case, are we headed for a holdout here?
I think so. I mean, I've always said that I thought it was going to get done right before camp because there's no urgency now to get it done. But the Bruins don't have $10 million to give them.
No, they don't.
So I don't know how that all comes together. Are they going to cut someone else so that they can afford Swain? It just doesn't make sense. So if he wants 10 and he knows the business side and he knows his comps and he knows what he's worth and all this stuff, I just don't feel like that's going to happen from the Bruins perspective. I think it's gonna be a holdout. I do. I don't see them going to $10 million. And his agent and Swayman seem pretty set on getting the most money he can possibly get and setting the goalie market and not ruining it for future goalies coming up after him with their contracts. I mean, he said a lot of things in the little interview with I'm blanking on the guy.
Is the Shut Up Mark podcast.
Mark, yeah. So
yeah.
I just feel like it's the comments alarmed me.
Yeah.
So it's just it feels like the sides are further apart than they've ever been. It seems.
Seems it. Here's the thing. I feel like I was on Swayman's side a bit because he had a really good playoff. He's a really good goalie. He's 25. Like this is probably a big deal. And I thought, yeah, 8 million, maybe even 8.5. Like I get it. Like I wasn't questioning it really, but now, after hearing this report and after hearing him talk, I almost was pissed at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, can we stop? Like, I get it. You didn't like arbitration, but we still have to talk about it. Like, he's like perseverating over the thing. Like, look, arbitration, talk to your CBA, talk to your players union who have a shitty RFA deal. You know what I mean? Like, just talk to them because this is part of the deal. The Bruins had no money to give you beyond what they.
Yeah, I mean that's the part of it that that really grinds me about the whole thing is he's acting like the Bruins did him wrong. Like they didn't have any money, and you knew that.
And then they only did a year when they could have done 2.
And you took them to arbitration. I mean, I know it's both sides, both sides have.
He did.
He was the one who elected arbitration.
Yes.
So he's looking for the most money he can possibly get. The Bruins don't have any money, and then he's pissed at them when within the arbitration hearing, the normal things take place.
And they did him a solid by doing 1 year.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like they could have done 2 years. I'm like, okay, screw you, buddy. We'll have you $3.5 million for 2 years. But they didn't. So it's a little disingenuous. Like I get that it's not a great situation. And I get that the arbitration is like marriage counseling. It's like, we're going to tell you how bad you are. And you know what I mean? It's clunky and it's weird. And it's, you don't love to hear about it, but it's part of the gig. Like, dude, like it's part of the gig. And you had another goalie making $5 million who you were hugging every night. Like, you know, Jesus, like, so it just came across as I was not even on either side. I was just kind of seeing how it was playing out. And I wasn't upset really at either side because I got the gist of it. But now I'm kind of pissed at Swayman. Like, can you stop? Like, what are you doing? Like, I just don't understand. Like, I get he's trying to set the market. I get his agent has advised other players to hold out. I mean, I get it all, but Swayman just acted kind of like it was a game to him. And the whole, like, I'm a humane business major. Okay, dude. Like, you don't need to be a business major to understand that your value is not $10 million a year. Like it isn't.
I feel like he's kind of tone deaf in the whole thing. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
really realize that this is causing some issues with the fans now. Like
Yeah.
fans are definitely not on his side now.
I'm seeing a lot that aren't. Yes, I am.
It's definitely shifting.
Mhm.
You know, that
It is.
he's not worth $10 million, trade him, all this stuff.
Yep.
Believe me, I don't want to trade him. I don't think he's worth 10 million. I don't want to trade him though. But the whole comparables thing, I don't get that. Dude, you've never played more than 44 games in a season.
Right.
You've never been a full-time number one goalie.
No.
What are you talking about comparables? With Vasilevsky, he's played like 65 games for fucking
He won 3 cups.
For like, 8 years in a row.
Yeah.
These and Saros, like number one goalie, plays a ton of minutes, plays a ton of games. Hellebuck, ton of minutes, ton of games. You've never done that. What are you talking about? Comparable.
Right.
You've never come close to the same amount of games as these guys have played in the regular season.
This was the only season.
That's maybe slow your roll a little bit, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems a little snarky for me. Like it just seems a little like, oh, I'm, the big cheese or whatever. Look, you had a good playoff run there, but the 2 seasons prior, you weren't the starting goalie. You went in after Almach either got injured or failed a little. Like you weren't the guy. And you played, like you said, not more than 44 games in the season. Like, yes, were you an all-star and you played well last year? Of course.
Yeah.
But 1 year does not make you a $10 million player for 8 years. Like it just doesn't do that. So and you know what? Now I'm starting to see like maybe Sweeney sort of saw this coming down the line because he's a smart guy. And that's maybe that's why he brought Korpisalo in that trade is like, you know what? We need some insurance because we don't know what this guy's going to do. Like he's upset and he thinks he knows everything. And it just comes across as all knowing and overconfident and cocky. And I'll tell you what, if he signs a big deal or if he holds out and then signs a big deal and then shits down his leg the first month, then fans are going to be up his ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hear it.
They're going to be right up his ass.
Hear it. The pressure, tell you what, no matter when or what he signs, the pressure's on him now.
Right.
Pressure's on him now. You want to be a number one guy, paid like a number one guy. These are your comps, all this stuff. The pressure's on you now.
Yeah, you got to carry the team.
No matter what it is, the pressure is on. If you sign for $50 or $500 million, the pressure is on you now to be the number one guy, to be, to win playoff series, all of that. He kind of brought it upon himself with all this talk. So, he's got to live up to that, whatever contract he signs and, some of the lip service that he's been giving, he's got to live up to that.
Yeah. I mean, Bob just won the cup and then Vasilevsky has 3.
Yeah.
Like these guys are established goaltenders. Like, so Swayman hasn't played. Like, I still want to see Swayman sign this deal. Okay. So if you sign this deal for say $9 million a year after all this, you're going to play him 60 games. You got to, I mean, for crying out loud, he's making too much money to play him 45 games and do the goalie split thing. So now can he do it? Like, can he do it? Can he do 60 games and then another 20 in the playoffs? Can he play 80 games in the season of high-level hockey? Can he do it? Nobody knows. Like, he's only played in college, and then he played half seasons in the NHL. So how do you know? So comparables just don't match up right here. His comparables are more like Saros and guys of that nature, Gibson, guys of that nature. So now we're talking 7.5.
Even Saros and Gibson play more games than he does.
Yeah, they do. He does, and I know it's not his choice, but reality is reality. Fact is fact. They chose to goalie rotate, and that's the deal. Like, I know it's not his, whatever his choice, but the fact is that he did.
Yeah, Shaz Diet says he should talk to Tuukka about what it's like to be a highly paid goalie.
Right now, Tuukka is look at it. at least to this point, Tuukka's a better goalie than Swayman is. I mean, Tuukka
Yeah.
was a prototypical goaltender. Like, he was as talented as can be. He didn't win the big games and stuff. Takes a lot of heat here, but Jesus, he won 300 some odd games. He's the best goalie in the franchise history. So he's the guy, but he took a ration of shit
Oh, he did.
because he didn't win. He still does. He still
Yeah.
doesn't get. There was a list of somebody put out a list of the top goaltenders of the 2000s, and he
Yeah.
wasn't on it. It was like the
Yeah, I
top
know. I
10.
saw that.
He wasn't on it.
Couldn't
Like,
believe
are
it.
you kidding me? Like, it's just unbelievable to me. But hey, I think he's going to hold out because I just don't know if the Bruins are going to budge. And here's the thing: he has some leverage because they chose him over Allmark. But at the end of the day, he's not getting paid if he sits. And,
Yeah.
they're not going to be completely out of sorts if he doesn't play at least the first couple of months of the season. They get Corpusalo right. They bring up Bussy or whatever. They could probably get by. They have a pretty good team. Probably get by.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I think they'll probably get by. I mean,
They'll get by.
it wouldn't be ideal, certainly, for me to decide. But yeah, but if I'm the Bruins and he's holding firm at $10 million, yeah, I'll let him sit the whole year.
Yeah, so the whole year, right?
I mean, I just he's a restricted free agent. He can only play for the Bruins unless someone signs him to an offer sheet. So if I'm the Bruins, that's my leverage. You want to sit? Go ahead. You can't get paid. See ya.
See, I think he wants, if they're going to give him a certain number, the Bruins, I think he wants the term to be smaller so he can get the bigger deal another 3 or 4 years down the road.
I agree with you.
I think that I've always thought that, but I think he wants the 10 million over so it's like it doesn't match up. They want long-term lower AAV.
Yeah.
He wants short-term higher AAV. Like, it just doesn't match up right now. And there's a rift there. And here's the other thing: do you want a guy who holds you over a barrel and makes it seem like he doesn't really care if he plays here or not, as long as he gets his money? Like, does it fracture? Is it too fractured there? Like, do you want to commit to a guy for 8 years who really made it look like he was pissed at you and really didn't, almost like he just doesn't want to be here, doesn't care if he's here?
That's a good point. It really is. I mean, it's like, taking an enemy and you talk shit about each other all the time, and then you're like, yeah, I want you on my team. Let's keep you around. We'll sign you long term, and we'll just keep yelling at each other the whole time. And it's just, it doesn't make for a good work environment, I think. If it's constantly there, it's constantly in the background. He's still bringing up the arbitration thing, over a year ago. It just lends to a poor work environment, and it could lead to a fracture that could ultimately lead to him being dealt.
I don't know. I've done almost a 180 on this because I wanted them to sign Swayman, figured it would get done.
Yeah.
People kept telling me how not to worry. Yeah. Okay, I won't worry. But now I'm almost to the side of I'm almost to the side where, you know what? If he doesn't want a good deal for the team, send him. Like, seriously. I don't know. I'm not as invested in him as I thought I was, because he's just hasn't given me a big sample size.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough. So that's the part that bothers me, is that because he hasn't been a number one and he's asking for number one money, that just bugs me. It just bugs me. Like, you haven't proven anything yet.
None.
So until you prove that you're a legit number one, like, I don't think you should be asking for 10 million. I just don't. No. That just doesn't fly with me. I don't like it. So
I mean, you always wonder what his teammates think. Like what do his teammates think? And I know that most teammates, are in favor of you getting your money. I mean, it's a short career. You make your money. They understand he's setting the market for other players down the road, so they probably don't get too bent out of shape about it. But there is that sort of like, okay, now you're making $9 or $10 million. Like, you better friggin' perform. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, I don't know. I'll tell you what, the days of taking discounts and Patrice Bergeron and Zdeno Chara, over, done. It's over. Like this is, and if they give in to him and give him more or overpay him, then it's really over. Like people will just be like, well, you gave him what he wanted. He bitched and moaned and stamped his feet, and you gave him what he wanted.
I'll say this and we'll wrap it up on Swayman, at least for now. What do you think the contract is going to be? What do you think it's going to be ultimately?
I think it's going to be 8 times 8.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was saying 8 times. I've said 8 times 8 all along, and now I think I don't know if they go that many years. I think you're right. I think it's it might end up being a shorter term deal, and maybe it's like 3 times 9 or something like that.
Mhm.
That gets it done, and then they revisit it in.
Oh, that's a solid point. I mean, that way,
the cap goes up. Then they can,
right.
if he proves himself, then you
I'll
can
tell you
get
what.
money.
I'll tell you what. If it's a smaller bridge deal, he's not signing the next deal with us with the Bruins.
I mean,
I don't. I just
too.
don't think. I don't think he's in it for the long haul. I think he'll absolutely go to the highest bidder. It won't be the Bruins, and he'll be gone. Like there's just something there where he just has this axe to grind.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I
his
just don't
agent's
think
like
it's
the Scott Boras of hockey. The guy's an absolute dick.
Yeah, he's a tool
He
bag.
wanted Nylander to hold out for the whole
Yeah.
year. Nylander
Johnny
had to call him like 40 minutes before the deadline, and
Yeah, he was like, "Can we please have a deal?"
can I sign a deal so I can
Right.
actually play hockey? Like his agent doesn't give a shit about that. He just wants his commissions. It seems like.
Mhm.
So I totally can see, him going to the highest bidder in 3 years if that's the case.
Sure.
I think that's what his agent will do. His agent is always looking for the most money. I am going to get you the most, I can possibly get you, and that's kind of Scott Boras's MO in baseball. So I feel like that's probably what.
You're right, though. A 3-year deal, he's only 28.
Yeah.
At the next one, and he's in his prime. And if he has 3 good years, then yeah, he's at 10, 11, 12, whatever. Here's the other thing about the salary cap quick. Like, I don't believe a thing the NHL says. Like, I don't believe it's
I'm with
going up
you
10
there too.
million, 20 million. I don't think any of that is true. I think it's going to go up a couple million here or there every single year. I don't believe the whole in 2 years it's going to be 110 million. Bullshit. It's not happening. It's not happening. So if players and agents believe that, then if I'm the team, I'm very cautious.
I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. This isn't the NFL.
No.
You're not all of a sudden growing your revenues.
Very temperamental league. Yes.
I mean, yeah, sure. You've got Utah and there may be some other expansion things. Yeah, but that's not going to cause it to go up that much. It's not going to jump 10, 15 million in a year. It just isn't.
No, it just isn't. Because
it's
they
not
wouldn't
the NBA. It's not the NFL. It's
because they wouldn't take that kind of risk.
sport.
They wouldn't take that kind of risk because it's
No.
so volatile.
No.
Like they wouldn't take that kind of so people say that. I'm like, that's not true. Like it's just not true. So if he thinks, yeah, I'm gonna forecast it out, like that's not gonna happen. So if I'm the Bruins, and that's smart on the Bruins for not biting on that, not buying into that, because I don't buy into it at all. All right, chirp 4. Rumors that James Van Riemsdyk might be offered a PTO or